Hello, I'm making a fast-paced, physics-based 2D platformer about alien wizards in space. You're in an actively collapsing lab, you have 15 seconds before it's destroyed completely, and there's mana sources you can pick up that make time run in reverse. In this video, I'm going to explain how I implemented that time reversing. It all starts with the root node main. It spawns in a game object, which it adds as a child to itself. The main node does some other stuff, but it's not relevant to this. The game object it just created is where all the interesting stuff happens. It has the UI, the important game logic, and the load zones that control the spawning and despawning of the map regions. To make the time reversal work, the game node script has a forwards and backwards signal, a variable keeping track of if it's going forwards or backwards, and code and physics process to keep track of which frame it is. The main sources are pretty simple, they're just area 2Ds with the sprite, and if they detect the player inside of them, they tell the game script, hey, we're going backwards. When the game script gets told to go backwards, it sets the going back in time variable to true, starts counting down the frame counter instead of going up, and emits a signal which tells all of the objects that care, hey, we're going back in time. Now for the objects. The objects that care are objects of the forwards and backwards function, which are connected to the forwards and backwards signals in the game script. This can be anything, but the most important one, and the one I'll explain now, is the time-rigid generic. The time-rigid generic is a modified version of the normal rigid body 2D in Godot. Typically, it functions just like a normal physics object until the code I wrote for it comes into play. When all of them get the signal to go backwards, each one calls its own backwards function, which does some physics junk, and sets its own variable that keeps track of its going back in time to true. This is important because the whole time in this integrate forces function, which has been being called every frame, it's been storing all of its relevant physics information inside of this dictionary, using the frame it got from the game script as the index. And so, now that it's going backwards, instead of storing its information every frame, it's going to be getting that information from its respective frame and assigning it to itself, effectively retracing the path it's been following for the last 15 seconds. And with that, we have time reversal.